Hello, and welcome back to the Pure Nintendo Podcast. This is your weekly dose of all things Nintendo. My name is Jemma, and joining me this week, I have the excellent Kirk. Welcome back, Kirk.
Hey, it's good to be here. It's been so long since it's just been me.
I know.
I feel like I need to be on my game today.
Yeah,
We'll
step
see
it
if
up.
I can pull that off.
I'm sure you can. But yeah, you're right. We've had Trev for a few weeks. We had Justin last week. Just the two of us this week, but that's
Yep.
nice. We love to chat about all things Nintendo. So, and last week was a huge week with the direct, of course. We're going to revisit that a little bit and talk a little bit more about a few things in there. My biggest news of the week, though, being in Australia and attending PAX Australia next month, which is only 3 or so short weeks away now, they announced the lineup of the exhibitors attending, and Nintendo will be there, which is not really a surprise, I don't think. I mean, I kind of expected it or slash hoped for that. I don't know why they announced it so late, but a month out, they told us Nintendo would be there, so that's great. And the exciting news for, I guess, for me, for anyone attending, hopefully for listeners who will get to hear me talk about it, is there's quite a few games that will be playable at the event, which I cannot wait to get my hands on and talk to you about, as well as write up for the website, of course. And these include Pokemon ZA. Now, that one will come out kind of like the week after PAX, so that's somewhat less exciting, but it's still a preview, but others like Kirby Air Riders, which comes out in November, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment, which comes out also in November, and the big one, Metroid Prime 4, which doesn't come out till December. Cannot wait to get my hands on these. How do you feel about that? Are you slightly jealous?
I'm always jealous of anyone whenever they get to attend a trade show that Nintendo is at,
Yeah.
because they're so fun.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
when you demo these games, do you like? Is there press access? Are you going to get media, or are you in line with your fellow gamers?
It's gonna be a bit of both. Usually at PAX Aus, the press gets an hour exclusive floor time on the Friday in the morning. So that it means there are far fewer people on the floor, which means you get quicker access to everything. The rest of the weekend, you're just in the line with everyone else. So there's no VIP access. Even if you have a media badge, you're still running around trying to get play time with these games. But there is that 1 hour of media time. So that's when I would usually go. And I did that. They weren't there last year. Nintendo wasn't there last year. But the year before they were promoting Pokemon, what was it? Violet and Scarlet. They were promoting Super Mario Brothers Wonder, of course. So I used that hour to go straight to Nintendo and play Super Mario Brothers Wonder and get my first impressions of that game before it came out. So yeah, I will definitely be doing that as well. I imagine Metroid Prime 4 will have quite a long line. I think
Yeah.
yes, and probably Pokemon. That's usually pretty popular as well. But they'll have a lot of Pokemon like kiosks or whatever, or stations set up. If 2 years ago is anything to go by, they had heaps of what was Switch One back then. It had heaps of switches set up with the Pokemon game, so the line moves relatively fast. I didn't have too much of a wait. I think the Mario line, I did go back and try it again because I had my kids with me, so they weren't there for the media hour, but they were there for other parts of the show, and we were on the indie tables. Are sort of well. At least 2 years ago, it was quite close to Nintendo, and it is quite close to the gaming floor. So Nintendo might not be right on the edge, but it'll be somewhat visible. And we were just hanging out with the indie devs, and I was doing some interviews and things. And when the Mario line was a bit short because it fluctuates during the day, we just jumped into the line and didn't have to wait too long. So I imagine it will be the same case. And we've got all 3 days to attend. So Friday tends to be a little bit less busy than Saturday, which is the busiest one, and that's sold out. And the same with Sunday; it's somewhat less busy, although probably busier than Friday. So we'll try to use our time wisely. But yeah, it's great that Nintendo will be there. They along with them, there are other big players, including
Well, let me
Ubisoft.
ask real
Oh,
quickly
sorry.
before we move on to the other ones, because I do want to
Sure.
hear who else is going to be there.
Yeah.
Which of those games are you most excited to try out?
That is a really good question, and I think it has to be Metroid Prime 4, to be honest. Yeah. Just because it's the big one that we've been waiting so long for. I'm really keen to see it in action, the graphics, the mouse controls. Yeah, definitely Metroid Prime 4. Like, I'm excited for all of them. I'm not super excited about Kirby Air Riders, but I definitely wanna try that because maybe it will win me over, you know?
Yeah, I
Um,
had
yeah,
I had the exact same thought. Like, I think I would spend more time on that than the others because I know I'm going to buy Metroid Prime 4 and
true.
Metroid, and I know I'm going
Yes.
to buy Hyrule Warriors, and I know I'm not going to buy Pokemon. So Kirby's the one that would be up in the air, so it's the one I would have to try. Ooh, up in the air.
Yeah.
Kirby Air Riders up in the air. See what they did?
Yes, I love that,
I
thank
feel
you.
like if Trevor were here, he'd be proud of me right now, but I
He
don't know.
would be. It's our first pun of the show. We should have a pun counter or something. Yes. No, I do feel the same way. And I mean, I definitely will be getting Metro Prime 4 regardless, but I also just want to try it to talk about it and with you and with listeners, write it up for the website as well. So definitely get my first impressions. But yeah, Kirby for sure. I'm very curious about. I just want to see what it's like. And I'm expecting probably to be swayed by it and enjoy it a little more than I'm expecting. I don't know. But then I'm expecting that, so I don't know if that even makes sense. Same with Hyrule Warriors, like, I didn't mention that necessarily as in terms of wanting to play it. I would definitely try that one as well. I'm gonna try everything that I can over the 3 days. I will not leave without trying all the Nintendo games. I don't care how long the line is, I'm gonna try them all, uh, and write up about them. Horror Warriors, yeah, like, that's probably one I will be playing in real life come November anyway, so yeah, but I still wanna see what it's like. I still wanna see how the Switch 2 handles it. I wanna experience the graphical powers of it, and sometimes, some booths, I guess maybe for smaller games, they have the handheld version, and then some of the bigger games you can play on the screen, so I imagine which ones of these will be on the big screen? They kinda all warrant it though, don't they? Metro Prime 4 definitely. They're gonna wanna
Yeah,
show off, yeah,
yeah.
the, what is it? The 4K resolution kinda thing, so they're gonna have some decent screens there. I'd say Age of Imprisonment also, and even Kirby Air Riders being a fast racing type of game, they're going to wanna put those on screen, so there's gonna be a lot of room taken up with these, which is gonna be very interesting to see. And then they also have a lot of third-party games, which I imagine might be more on the handheld side of things, like Silksong, for example, which is already out, as we know, but that will be playable in the Nintendo area, so they're going to have third-party games, also displayed, which is really cool. And they haven't listed all of them, so there'll be some surprises that I'm excited to find out about as well. Anything else about Nintendo then?
Nope.
Nope. So the other big players include Ubisoft as well as Devolver Digital. So I don't know if they specified what Ubisoft is playing. I think they might have. But Devolver Digital, they definitely did. Devolver Digital will have Cult of the Lamb, and I know that's an older game, but there's a new, paid DLC. I think it's more like an expansion coming in
Mhm.
2026, and apparently PAX Australia attendees are the first, well, will be the first in the world to try this new expansion.
Cool. And you
Yeah.
played the original, right? I remember you playing
Yeah.
it and liked it.
I did. I reviewed that one even, and have revisited it so that, Trev says I think it's Trev who says this, one thing that makes a game stand out to him as a reviewer is if he revisits it after reviewing it, and Cult of the Lamb is definitely an example of a game I've revisited several times. It's really, really fun, and this expansion, I mean, they're obviously dedicating a lot to this title because it is, what is it, 3 years old now, I think, on the Switch at least, and they've had other DLC packs and even free kind of upgrades along the way, and now they've got this expansion coming next year to breathe even more life into it. So last year they had a big area, even the year before, both years they've had Devolver Digital has had a big Cult of the Lamb exhibit with cool backgrounds that look like the temple from the game. This year they're going to have another big presence with playable versions of the game. I think the llama himself is walking around. You can take photos with him if you so desire. They've got merch as well. I think 2 years ago when we were there, we bought, quite a few of the badges that you can get because you put them on your lapel and it looks really cool. It's all about the badges. Yeah, there's a lot to look forward to there. Um, Super excited for this. I think I get why they would announce it so close to the date because then it just, ramps up that excitement even more as you're getting closer. Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to ask me?
Well, no. Are you taking your kids again?
Yes, yes, they'll be
Okay,
there as well.
great.
We've got a place quite close to the event this time. Typically, we stay kind of not too far, but like a 10-minute walk away. I managed to get a hotel that's, like, right near the venue, so that's gonna be really handy for us because we can go back and forward a bit more, I imagine, than we usually could. Like, we would normally go in the morning, stay there all day, and then go back at night and be quite tired. But
Yeah,
if we wanted to, we could go and come and go as we please kind of thing, which also makes it a bit easier for the media, side of things. For example, I don't really like to leave my kids alone. They're not that young, but, they're 12 and 14 now, so 2 years ago, they were 10 and 12. I didn't wanna leave them alone then, so
sure.
I had to get someone to look after them. Um, this year, I'm probably okay with leaving them in a hotel room securely for, an hour, I think is okay, especially if it's right near the venue, but we'll see how we go. Yeah.
Now, will they be playing the Switch while they're waiting, or are they going to take their devices and play Roblox and what
Oh
have
my
you?
gosh. Probably they'll play Roblox, honestly.
Traders.
Yeah, I know. I know. This is why they're not on the media list.
Well,
Yeah.
my youngest would do the same. Although my oldest, actually, while we were talking, he was sending some texts to me that I was mostly ignoring, but he's entering a, Mario Kart tournament at his
Oh.
college
Oh, cool. That's
this
fun.
weekend, and he
Cool.
can win, like, an electronic big wheel. It's Green Machine. It's like a powered big wheel. So,
Wow.
good luck to him.
Yes, good luck. All the best. Let us know how he goes. Is that for Mario
Yep.
Kart World, like the new one? Or Mario Kart
Um,
8?
no, I think it's Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, okay. Well, that has the bigger install base at this point, so
Yeah,
a
yeah, I
huge
think it
install
is.
base, in fact, yeah. I do think somewhat related, there is a European tournament for Mario
Oh,
Kart World players
do
happening maybe this weekend or soon.
do you know what? Now that I look at it, it does have the Mario Kart World logo at the top.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So, yeah, that's, boy, that's happening too. In fact, it's going on right now. It's 6 to 8 o'clock our time as we're recording. Oh boy, we might have the results before we're done.
Oh, exciting. You hear it live.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
everyone's on the edge of their seat.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. Thank you for that. So yes, PAX Australia, it's coming up in October. I will report back when I'm there, of course, and, in fact, we'll be recording over the weekend because we usually record Saturday my time, and I'll be there on the Saturday, so we'll set things up and, get that happening. Um, Back to the Nintendo Direct. So that was huge last week. If you didn't catch the show, go back and listen after this one. We broke down all of the main games that we were excited about, talked about all the details. One little fact that came out during the week, and I know you're a huge Apple fan, Kirk, but the Nintendo Direct apparently had 2.92 million streamers during the event, which was more than the Apple iPhone 17 event, which I think was also in the 2 millions. I didn't write down the number, sorry, but it was not that far behind. But is that normal? How do you feel about that?
Oh, I don't know. I will say that's as it should be.
Okay.
Um, it's kind of funny to me because again, before pure Nintendo, I used to write for Apple websites and covered a lot of the iPhone events back in the day
Mm.
when live streaming via text, not like actual text messages, but updating the website as it
Ah,
happened, as opposed to just watching video.
yeah,
Boy, I used to do that all the time.
that's cool.
Um,
Mm.
yeah, so good because obviously I'm much more into Nintendo now than Apple. I've kind of soured on Apple a little bit. I'm an Apple user, let's say that. I'm
Okay,
not an Apple fan. I'm an Apple product user.
right, okay.
I am a Nintendo fan.
Cool. That is a there's a distinction there for
There
sure.
is a distinction. Yes,
Yes.
I can appreciate the product for Apple. I appreciate the product and the company with Nintendo.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, great. That's I would be curious to see. Like, I don't have a basis of comparison for how many streamers there were on previous Nintendo Directs.
Yeah, same.
Um,
That is a really good question. I'd love to know that as well. Maybe there's a Wikipedia article somewhere.
yeah,
And just for context as well, the events were within 3 days of each other, so that kind of helps, in terms of the timing, but obviously Nintendo's one was on Friday, which
yeah,
might be better
yeah. At
than
9 a.m. Eastern time too. So that's 6 a.m. Pacific. So everybody out on the West Coast had to get up really early to contribute to that number.
Yeah, right. Yes, so that makes a difference. When does Apple typically host their one?
Theirs tend to run at 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
So yeah,
Mhm.
1 p.m. for me, a much more. I mean, I guess it's during the workday, but so is 9 a.m. So
Yeah, true. And 1 p.m. could be like a late lunch or something.
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, interesting. So that was just a little tidbit of information that dropped during the week. Basically to say that the Direct was popular, I suppose. People were interested in what was happening, what Nintendo was, I guess, announcing, especially for Switch 2. And it was a huge Direct. It was, yeah, like we know, it was an hour long. It was the biggest, I think, Direct of its kind in terms of we've had our Directs before, but they've been on a particular topic, I think, like maybe the Kirby Air Riders one. Was that an hour recently that we just had?
I
Yeah.
didn't even watch it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the other thing. 2.92 million tuned into the right one because there were a
Mm.
lot of good announcements in that direct. So
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's a very good point as well. And one of the first announcements in the Direct was Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, of course, which is the revamped versions of those classic games, which do come in as a bundle. We did talk about it last week, but a little bit extra information. We know it's been enhanced, but what does that mean exactly? We kind of mentioned that there's 1080p on the Nintendo Switch 2, I guess. On Nintendo Switch, 4K on Nintendo Switch 2. Basically, the visuals have been bumped up. But there's also a new mode that I wasn't aware of, and I think this was in the Direct, and it's called an assist mode, which is quite a nice addition, actually. This is one of those quality of life things. We're talking about games that are what? Over 10 years old now, right? How old are these games? 10, 15 years old, something like that.
yeah, I guess so. They're like one of those things where in my mind they're not that old, but
Mm. Mhm.
they are. I'm just, you know,
Yeah.
losing time, I guess, with how long
Yeah,
ago I
well
played these.
yeah, exactly. And they're Wii games, and the Wii was what, 2006 to 2000
Yeah.
and I don't know, 10, 13, whatever. Anyway, the point is they're relatively old, but they've been bumped up visually, and when I think an old game is re-released, it's really nice when developers give it a bit, of these accessibility features to make it a little easier, especially for kids or new players. And this assist mode does that. So basically, it adds some life to your health bar, as well as if you fall off the edge, you can bubble, like we've seen in other Mario games, especially the platforming ones, bubble and just float back to the surface, which I think will solve any frustrations that people might have. Now, I don't think it's a super hard game, but it's not necessarily easy. There's some pretty decent platforming sections in both of these games. So if that was a concern that you ever had, or if you wanted to play with kids, that will definitely help. And I think it looks like you can switch it on and off while playing, maybe. So if there's a tough section, you could switch it back into assist mode and help yourself out a little bit. So yeah, I think that's neat to add that kind of thing. Don't have to use it; it's just there if you want it. I think that's great having you know, that feature. There's improved UI, so the user interface has been improved, and I think this relates to the text, like the on-screen text when you enter a new area, for example. It says "Welcome to the Galaxy" or whatever it says. It looks like from screenshots I've seen online that that's been enhanced, made clearer, bigger, bolder, that kind of thing. It looks really nice. And I mean, if you look at the trailer, which if you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on YouTube, the trailer will play while we're talking, but it's certainly looks lovely visually, and it already did look nice, but I think you can tell that the graphics have been boosted, considering we're talking about a 15-year-old game here.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does look
Yeah,
really
and
nice.
that's why they have to do that with the text, right? Because the game
Mm,
was released for the Wii,
mhm.
where you were only playing it on a larger screen. So now that you can play it in
Yeah.
handheld mode, there are some companies that skip that. Like I'm surprised. Even if it's not a remake, a lot of companies, if they're porting something over from a PC, for
Mhm.
example, will leave the text tiny. And I don't get why. It's like they're just never testing it in handheld mode
Yeah,
before they
yeah,
release the game. It's shocking to me how hard
yeah.
it is to read some of the UI in these games.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, that sort of irks me when I see that. It shouldn't happen. But yes, that is the case. So it looks like Nintendo, I suppose, of anyone should not do that, and they haven't, which is good. So Yeah, they're taking that all into account. It certainly looks lovely. I am considering getting this one. It does come out very soon. I think it was October the 2nd, which is only less than 2 weeks away. And because I was talking to you offline before the show, Kirk, that, at least my sons, both of them, they have not played Mario Galaxy 2. One of them definitely has played number 1 because I have Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and that was included in that package. So it's at least one new game, and Harrison, my eldest, he loves Mario Odyssey, for example, Luigi's Mansion. He loves all those 3D Mario type of situations. So I think he will get a real kick out of Super Mario Galaxy 2, considering he did enjoy the first one. He even played Mario Sunshine, which I think was on that bundle as well. And we love Mario Sunshine, I think. On Pure Nintendo, we have a soft spot for that one. So, yeah. There's also new storybook chapters, which we know are included. They mentioned that. I'm just not sure what that means. I think obviously there's text. We know that. I don't think it relates to anything new in terms of gameplay itself, but there's new content in that form, which is something. And I don't know, because you've played the first one, right? Before?
Yes.
Yeah. I love the storybook, like the music that goes with it, the little kind of painted pictures with the Lumas and Rosalina. I think it's very sweet, personally. But anyway. Yeah. So let us know, listeners, if you're intending to get Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. And hopefully I will be doing that soon. A couple other things. We saw a few games in the Direct that had demos, and I wanted to highlight a couple of them. Oh, and Kirk as well. You highlighted one of these, actually. Little Nightmares 3 has a demo, and that one comes out, I think it's the 10th of October, so it's pretty close. So I'm going to check out the demo this week and report back next week. And the other one was Persona 3, what was the subtitle of that one?
Reloaded.
Reloaded. I wanted to say Royale, but that was
That was
Persona
5.
5, yeah.
Yeah, Persona 5.
Yeah. So are you going to check out the Persona 3 demo?
Yeah, I think so. I don't have a lot of experience with the Persona games. I may have mentioned before, I did play Persona 5 Royale all the way through and really enjoyed it. I didn't review it. It was more of a personal
Mm.
thing on that one. And the whole demon summoning that appears in a lot of different games from Atlas, the Shin Megami Tensei series, for example. So I'm familiar with that aspect of it. But yes, I will get it. Especially, I had to look it up, but progress does carry over if you purchase the game in Persona 3 with the demo. So, yep, I'm going to be giving it a go.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I do love it when games, when developers ensure that games do carry over. I would hate to see a game that didn't do that, actually.
I've seen it sometimes where it makes sense because you just like the opening of the game is not emblematic of the gameplay.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
they let you do something else where you can kind of get a better feel of what's going on, but then, you can't carry that over because
Mm.
you got to go back to the start. But in that case, usually they'll give you something like a weapon you've unlocked or whatever you may get to keep or
Yeah.
some kind of bonus for playing the demo.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that one, the game itself, Persona 3 Reload, comes out on the 23rd of October, so about a month
Mhm.
away. And the demo is out and available now. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, cool. Awesome. So maybe next week we can both report back on our respective demos.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Cool. Anything else related to the direct that we wanted to mention?
Now, I guess it's time to look forward.
Look forward. Let's move on. A couple other little bits of news. First of all, Donkey Kong Bonanza tracks were partially added to Nintendo Music this week. I'm not sure why. They added 9 tracks randomly. I don't know. I really don't know what the deal with that was. Maybe because of the DLC that just came out recently. Not sure. Anyway, they're there. They're great, of course. I have listened to them. I listened to them while I worked yesterday. Yeah, so these are lovely, lovely tracks. It is a really good soundtrack. If you've played the game, you will know exactly what I mean. I'm sure Trev would agree if he was here. Kirk, you can go try the demo that's available and let us know your thoughts on the tracks.
Got to do Persona 3 first. Got to space out my demos.
Yes, exactly. But yes, it is there now. It is available to listen to. I assume the rest would come at some point, but yeah, the first 9 tracks are there at least. I don't know if it's the first, but the first of whatever batch they're releasing. So I just want to mention that if you're a fan, go ahead and listen to it. And the other piece of news, we have our section that we don't quite have a name for. Kirk's Corner. I think we're just going to call it Kirk's Corner. But basically, we have an announcement of the week from Kirk. So, what is your announcement of the week?
This one I'm carrying. Well, I'm kind of carrying over from last week. They announced it last Friday, but that was the day of the direct, so there wasn't time to put this out there.
Mhm.
But considering that there's a new Fire Emblem game coming, and considering that we're still waiting for Path of Radiance to be released for Switch Online members, um, I'm excited to announce that Rise Eterna 2 is coming to the Switch. Now, of course, this isn't a proper Fire Emblem game, but it's a Fire Emblem game.
Yeah.
You know how that works. This comes from Forever Entertainment is publishing it, and I played and reviewed the first Rise Eterna back in 2001,
Oh,
maybe I
what?
want to say.
Wow. 2001?
Excuse me, 2021. My
Okay.
apologies.
I'm like, you were writing for who back then?
Yeah, I really got the jump on that game. Yeah, it's a Fire Emblem style game. It's got that kind of combat, the grid based combat where you're going up against different things. It doesn't have like the weapon triangle. It's got the characters. It's got the drama. This one kind of looks there was another game, another Fire Emblem game I talked about recently too. Again, I keep calling them Fire Emblem games, Fire Emblem style games. My
Yes.
apologies. Called Dark Deity 2. And I may have confused the two at one point. That one came out a year later, but the sequel came out maybe about a month ago. It was
Mhm.
released the same day as what, Silk Song? Is that what the game that came out?
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So it kind of got buried under that, and I feel bad for that, but feel bad for them.
Mm. Yeah,
But
true. Yeah.
that game had more of a look like the Fire Emblem games for the Game Boy Advance.
Mhm.
Rise Eterna's look is more along the lines of the Fire Emblem games that were released for the DS, like Shadow Dragon, for example.
Mhm.
Um, so it's got a nice look to it. It's kind of got that feel. I really like the first game. I only gave it a 6 out of 10 though in the review because it was way too easy.
Mhm.
You could overpower your team. It was a smaller team. There may have only been like 14 characters that you could swap back and forth, which is a really small group for a game of this style these days. But
Yeah.
you ended up not needing most of them anyway because you could get people so overpowered that you would just bowl your way right through all the levels,
Yeah.
and kind of took out some of the challenge. And there was one funny quirk to it where a lot of the levels had traps, hidden traps, like the Fire Emblem games tend to do, where you're walking along and you'll step in something. Now you can't move anymore. You can't attack. But if you put your cursor over top the enemies, it would show their movements and where they could go. If there was a trap, it would indicate that the enemy could not go there. So
Right.
every time I was moving, I would select them and just, okay, well, I can't step here. I can't step here. I can't step here. That guy can.
Mm.
So even that was too easy because it would telegraph where those traps were.
Mm. Yeah.
But that aside, I said in my review back then that I really hope there's a sequel and they iron some of these things out. There is a sequel, so hopefully we'll find out soon if they did iron them out. I'm really looking forward to
Nice.
this, and now will not complain too much that Path of Radiance has not been released because I've got another game of that type, turn-based strategy, that
Yes,
will fill that hole.
exactly.
And that goes back to real quickly
Yeah.
to why my announcement of the direct, my favorite announcement of the direct was the Fatal Frame game, because I know while I'm waiting for Fire Emblem, I can find other good Fire Emblem style games to fill
Mm.
that gap.
True.
And this one should do it.
Yeah, definitely. You'd hope so. Exactly. I think, do you know, talking about Path of Radiance on the GameCube, and of course we've got Feathers. What is the Feathers Weave? What is
We've
the? Yeah,
we've yeah.
yeah. With that coming out next year, you know what they're going to do? They're going to release them at the same time.
Oh boy, I hope they don't do that.
Well, that's what they're doing
Yeah,
with Resident Evil, and I
that
just
would
feel
be.
like that's something they would do, release them at the same time.
Yeah. They got, because I actually was thinking about that is like now, so we don't even know when in 2026 the new game is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
So how long are they going to make us wait for Path of Radiance now because they want to use that to get people excited about the other one? Maybe
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
that's
know.
yeah.
I don't know that it would because I think different people play those. Those two
True.
are as far removed on the spectrum as Fire Emblem games can be. I think.
Yeah, okay.
Um, I say that not knowing how faithful the new one's going to be to Three Houses, since it's kind of a sequel to that. But
Mm,
yeah,
true.
we'll see.
Looking at the list of games from this publisher, so Rise of Eternia 2 comes out on the 9th of October. It's a nice price. It's $20.
Hmm.
There's also Rise Eternia War that came out last year. What is that?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Let's see,
and that
Rise
was
of
only
Eternity.
$10. So I don't know if it's DLC
Oh,
or an expansion, maybe. Rise while you're looking, Rise Eternia, the one you already reviewed, is on sale. Actually, 75% off. It's only $5 right now. So if people were interested in the sound of that as you're talking about it, despite the
what?
6 out of 10, it is on sale. It's only $5. It's pretty good. It's normally 20 as well. But yeah, I'm not sure what this other one is from
Yeah, I'm
last
going
year.
to have to look into this. I'm looking at the screen captures for it now. I completely missed it, and it doesn't look like it doesn't have the same style gameplay as the other Rise Eternia games did.
Mm,
The interface looks different. The
it
combat
does.
system
Yeah.
looks different. Um, yeah, it kind of looks more like a I don't want to say a card style game, but boy, I don't know.
Yeah, like it's
Like
called.
you're setting up your units and they're just going at each other. You're not like
Mm,
it doesn't look to be turn based. Yeah. Well,
I think it is a
now
deck. Yeah.
I've got
Uh,
some learning to do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Looks like it might be a deck builder, actually. You could be right there. It's still called a strategy game, but real-time strategy with deck building, maybe
Okay.
elements.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Resource
But
management. Okay.
yeah, I guess it's good that they've named it differently, like Rise of Eternia War as opposed to Rise of Eternia 2, which is the one you've been talking about. That is a direct sequel and the same style, which makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, cool. That one comes out, yeah, October the 9th. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that, how it compares to the original. I think that'll be really exciting. Do you
Yeah.
think we'll be reviewing that one since we reviewed the first one?
Most likely, yeah. I
Yeah.
say even if they don't provide us with the review code, this is one that I'm probably likely to purchase myself. And in that case, if I can work it into my schedule, I will do so. But if I have too many other obligations, then I'm going to honor
Mm.
those obligations.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Cool. Thank you, Kirk. Any other news before we move on to the games that we are playing this week?
Nope, I
Nope.
think that'll do it for now.
Nice. We
Got to
have a
save something for next week.
Yeah, that's it. And we have a nice healthy list of games and plenty of time to talk about them, which is great. Quite a few. I think we've got 3 apiece. Now, speaking of games that we are playing for fun and not necessarily reviewing, that would be Star Wars Outlaws for me. And I mentioned this, I would have mentioned this last week, but we had the director course. We mentioned it 2 weeks ago. It only just came out about 2 weeks ago. And I did mention I was interested. I hadn't picked it up before we recorded that at that point. I did pick it up that weekend and have been playing it a little bit, not a whole lot because of other commitments, of course. And it is for fun. Reviews often take precedence. But I've tried to give time to this one just because A, I wanted to talk about it. It's a big new game for the Switch too. And I am a Star Wars fan, so interested to see how that plays. Of course, there was the whole controversy around the Switch 2 performance, etc. Happy to report I've had no issues. I haven't tried it, I don't think, in handheld though. I'm sure it's fine though from what I've seen online. On the screen though, it looks quite lovely most of the time. There's a few sections I've noticed that I don't know. A lot of the time, the cutscenes in particular look really good, like movie quality, really, really nice and sharp. But then sometimes it's almost you can tell, and it's her face that I notice this the most with the character's face. Kay, she will just look a bit different sometimes in the cutscenes. Like her face is a little not distorted exactly. It's not like it's bad. It's just not as clear or sharp as it was in a previous scene. And I wonder if they've just optimized a few scenes that way when it's like not a close up or something, like when she's on an angle or a different side view or something like that. Not sure. I just noticed that a little bit. But generally speaking, it's very lovely to look at. The graphics are really nice. Some of the backgrounds, like I'll be playing and she's climbing up a cliffside to break into this building because she's a thief. And I'll stop and look at the background because it just looks so lovely, like the sky in the background with buildings in the distance and there's fireworks or something going off. It's like, oh, this is really nice. This looks really cool. I'm enjoying this. So yeah, graphically, I'm pretty happy with it. I don't think it's maybe going to be quite as sharp as other consoles, but we know that the Switch 2 is powerful, but it's not all powerful, all knowing, is it? But it's definitely up there, and it definitely hasn't. I haven't noticed any frame rate stutters, which I think is probably more important than a little bit of graphic optimization. When you're on a speeder, you don't want to see the choppiness or slow down. I haven't seen any of that. Most of the time, you're running around. One thing I wasn't necessarily aware of, it's not really an open world game, and I don't know if that's why people haven't liked it because maybe they wanted it to be open world. I'm quite happy for it to be linear, to be honest. And I don't know if I don't really play this style of game all that often in terms of these Ubisoft kind of third person adventures where you're exploring and doing missions and following a story. It makes me think of maybe like Assassin's Creed or something like that. Have you played any of those games?
No, I haven't played. It's been so long. I played one Assassin's Creed game again on the Mac. I read that one of them came out for the
Hmm.
Macintosh, and I reviewed it back then. I can't even remember what it was called. It was so long ago.
Maybe it's
But yeah,
just
just
the first
yeah,
one.
just one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's an unfair comparison because I've never played an Assassin's Creed game, but I have seen pictures and still video footage. It seems maybe somewhat similar, and it is the same. It's Ubisoft, right? So anyway, the point is, I'm fine with it being relatively linear. There is still exploration. There's still side quests. There's still plenty to do. I didn't really want a whole open world experience. That kind of intimidates me a little bit just because it's a bigger experience then that takes very long to work through, and I don't have time for another Tears of the Kingdom right now. So
And it's harder to tell a story in open world.
yeah.
Much harder to tell a story with any sort of
Yes.
proper pacing. So yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. A Star Wars thing. I think I want a story.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. And so that's what they've done, and that unless it changes at some point, but that's what's happening so far. And the story is really good. Like I said, she's a thief, like a scoundrel. I think she's kind of a Han Solo type of character. She's in a bit of trouble financially, as Han Solo was always seemed to be suffering from this a similar fate. She's on the bad side of the wrong people. There's a few missions to do where she breaks in, and there's a bit of a stealth mode to this game where you do have to kind of sneak into places, try to avoid combat if you can, but you do have a weapon so you can fight and shoot. There's a big, what do you call it? Like a gangster element to this. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll know the Pikes. Obviously, if you're not, I don't think Pikes have been in the movies, the Pike kind of clan, whatever. But there's also the Hutts, which everyone would know the Hutts, Jabba the Hutt. And what's the third one? Crimson Dawn is the third one. So there's like three gangster elements, and the whole thing starts with a table, a round table, not literally round, but a group of people at a table from different gangster organizations having a meeting, and that just sets the scene for what's happening because there's a bit of a betrayal, some bloodshed. There's a lot going on, and it's intriguing, and I'm quite interested in it. I like the fact that it's not about Jedi this time around. It's very easy to have a game with a lightsaber and just kind of go killing people crazily with the lightsaber or using the Force. I think it's nice to have a game that's not around that, even though I do like using a lightsaber, of course. It's probably more in line with, I guess, that bounty hunter game that we saw semi recently re-released on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot to it. One thing I really like is that Kay has a little companion, and it's not a droid, it's a little animal, which I think is nice because we often see droid companions in Star Wars, and I love droids. I'm not against that at all, but this is an animal companion. I feel like it's a new creature, not a creature I'd seen before. I'm not even sure what type of creature it is. The name of the pet or whatever is Nyx, and it looks like an axolotl, but like a dog-sized axolotl. It's quite cute, but it has those little things on the side, like axolotls have those little. they're not feelers, but you know what I mean? Those little 3 things on each side that look like whiskers. And this is a really helpful companion that you can send off to distract people. You can send this little dude off to fetch things that you find because she's a thief, so she's constantly picking up things that she sees lying around, which I kinda love that. And you can pat this little creature and it enjoys that. So I really like the addition of this little companion because I think Star Wars, like I said, they often have droids, but it's almost always there's 2. There's a pair of characters, and one is a humanoid type character, and one is either a droid or a child or a creature or something. And I like that pairing. You don't often find yourself alone in the movies. There's always R2D2 or whatever. Yeah. So I like that. I think that's a really nice addition.
Did they give the creature an annoying voice or any kind of voice at all?
No, actually, no, he doesn't speak. I think he might squeak sometimes, but I haven't really
Okay,
noticed
good.
it a whole lot. It's not like an annoying thing that you're gonna hear a lot of and get annoyed with. Not like, a Navi situation. So, yeah, no, none of that. Um, Happy to report that doesn't happen. So, yeah, so I'm really enjoying it. I'm only a couple of hours in. I'm not even sure how long the game is. I assume it's a good 20 plus hours. I don't really know. But I've moved on to a different planet. I've got a speeder now. I've just found the Pikes. I'm trying to infiltrate their base. It looks like there's a reputation element to each of these kind of faculties or syndicates, I guess is a better word. So right now I'm whatever the neutral one is. I think it's just poor actually. There's like 5 reputation elements. So you can go from very bad to poor to good to great. They're not the right words, but you know what I mean? There's a 5-star kind of rating system, and that is
Right.
how they will treat you. So currently, if the Pikes see me, they will attack. They don't like me right now, even though I'm in the middle. But if I approach them in the right way, they will give me jobs, and then I can improve my reputation, and then they won't attack me on sight anymore. So that's where I'm at, and it's the same with the Hutts and the Crimson Dawn. I don't know where they are at this point because I'm dealing with Pikes, but yeah, it's fun. I think if you're into Star Wars and if you like the gangster side of Star Wars, like this, I was going to say dark side, but I didn't mean literally the dark side. I meant the underworld side, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think you'll find something to enjoy there. So yeah, I'll keep going with it for funsies because it's not necessarily a review game. If I got far enough, I probably could write up a review, but it's probably quite a big game to review. So we'll see how we go. But yeah, definitely enjoying my time with Star Wars Outlaws so far. Listeners, let us know if you are also playing and what you think. But let's move on to you, Kirk, unless you have another Star Wars related question.
No, but I will reveal that it wasn't until you were talking about it that I found out that Jabba the Hutt was not a title. I always thought Hutt was a title, and you're telling me it's like a family name or a gang name or something?
Yeah, yeah, the
Okay, well,
Huts.
there you go.
Hmm. There's even a language. They speak Huttese, I think it is. So,
Okay, I never knew.
yeah.
Never.
Well, because you didn't go past Return of the Jedi, did you? Oh, no, you didn't even watch
Uh,
Return of the Jedi. Was it?
oh, yeah. I've seen Return of the Jedi. I sat through the movie in the theater. Yeah, I
Right.
don't know that I ever did after that. Oh no, when they released the new versions with all the new special effects, I went to see those in the theater too.
Ah, yeah,
So
okay.
I've
That
seen it
was
twice.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Okay.
Fair enough. Thank
All
you,
right.
Kirk.
Well, before I get to my game, I got breaking news.
Ooh,
Sam has advanced past round 1 of the
nice.
Mario Kart World Tournament.
That's awesome.
Um, so,
This
yep, he
is
won the first round.
Yeah, how many do we know how many rounds there are?
Oh no, I'm just slowly getting texts coming in as
It's a
popping
bit
up on the
like
computer here.
it's a bit like the Apple updates that you used to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Well, one of the games that I was playing this week, the review is up at Pure Nintendo. Is called Varley.
Mhm.
This is a game that is published by I can never pronounce this. My Japanese is not good enough. Furyu Corporation. They're mostly a publisher. I think they developed this one themselves, though. I said in the review, I called it Persona Light. Um, and it's a game that's got a lot of turn-based battles. You're entering into these things called glitches, which are the desires or negative emotions of people at the high school that you're attending. You are also a high school student, in Japan. So you know the setting. You've seen it 100 times in games
Yes.
like this.
Hmm.
You join a club, and the club performs various tasks throughout the day. You'll go out onto the school grounds, and you need to find things for people. You'll talk to people to get clues about certain items. There are the glitches to repair. You are hanging up flyers. A lot of really light things to do, and
Mm.
then the story will kick in, and you'll enter a bigger glitch with like larger mazes that you need to go through and have a lot of fights in the turn-based combat. None of it is all that compelling as far as like the urgency to anything. The jobs just feel like you're kind of meandering and picking things up. I didn't think that was done very well. I did like the turn-based battle system.
Mm.
It's you kind of see a line of where the enemies are going to attack and what they're going to do, so you can plan accordingly. Let's say one guy's going to have an attack that's going to hit all three people, so that's maybe too much damage. So you can guard, but when you guard, it minimizes their attack, but it makes it so you don't get to go attack again as fast. So now they may get 2 attacks in. They may be setting up a more powerful attack. So you decide to use your breaking attack, which can stop that. And then that will, some of your companions, you have 3 people fighting at a time. You can swap them in, the people in and out. They may have an attack that takes advantage of a character of an enemy who has been broken. So there's a lot to think about, again, but it's all too easy.
Yeah.
I Throughout the entire game, I think only once, and I'm not even joking about this, on normal mode, there is a hard mode. I played normal. Only once did I even ever have to use a health item in
Right.
any of the combats, any of the boss
Wow.
battles. So if you are going to play this, and I'm not saying it's a bad game, it's just not terribly compelling. The characters, you know what? Let's move on to the bright side. I really like the characters. Um, I like the interactions with them. I like their personalities. They weren't exactly the typical tropes that you get. There was a little bit more going on that I enjoyed, but the rest of it just didn't really move me to the point where I could really get into the game. But again, it's so easy that it wasn't hard to get all the way through it pretty quickly.
Mm. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, the graphics are good. The music's good. Actually, I think the
Mhm.
music may be one of the highlights. I really enjoyed the music in this game.
Oh,
But
that's nice.
yeah, if you played Persona 5, if you've tried the demo for Persona 3 and it's just got too much style, little too hyperkinetic, too much going on, then this is kind of like a cozier version, since that's the big term right now, a cozier version
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Persona.
it is, isn't it? Yeah, I get that because I think Persona. I feel like I've tried a Persona game. I don't even know which one, and I definitely felt overwhelmed. So, yeah, I get that. Cool. What did you rate it? Or
I gave it a 6.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's not because the game isn't done well. They went for a more chill vibe with it, and everything in the game works. There were never any problems with user interface glitches or frame rate problems or anything like that. The game just performs very well.
Mm,
It's just the style, a little bit more going on. I think might have really helped.
yeah, fair enough. Makes sense. Thank you, Kirk. Valet. Let us know, listeners, if you've played this one because that's already out, right? Yeah,
Yes.
cool. Well, my next game is very interesting. It's already out as well. It came out actually at the end of July. So I'm a bit behind on my review with this one. I thought it came out in August, actually. Sorry about that. No, end of July it was. And it's a game called Time Flies. And this is a really unique game. You literally control a fly, like a bug, an insect, a fly. So and you fly around in a house and you have about 80 seconds to live because that's the lifespan of a fly apparently. And the game actually it opens with a list of countries. It's a drop-down list. You can choose your country. It seemed to know I was in Australia. Maybe that's because I was playing with my Australian Switch Nintendo profile, but it knew I was in Australia. You can change it though. So I went through my lifespan in Australia was like 83.7 seconds or something, and it's got this little disclaimer saying based on data, whatever data. So apparently flyers in Australia live for 83 seconds on average. So you can change countries, and it's a very long list of countries. I think it's every country in the world, at least that you have fly data for. So I went through I went through alphabetically, and I got up to Japan, and that had a better lifespan than Australia. So I stuck with Japan. So it's like 84 or something, or 86, I can't remember. And so you've got this little countdown in the corner, which is your time, counting down the seconds. And 80 something seconds doesn't sound like a long time, but it's long enough to fly around and investigate this house that you're in. So there's different rooms, there's different items you can interact with. And the cool thing is when you interact with a lot of these items, the time stops because the goal of the game is to tick everything off your bucket list. So your flyer has a little bucket list of about 10 things. And once you do the thing, it gets crossed off. Unfortunately, well, it's good for the game actually, because this would be way too fast if you didn't have this uh, gameplay element. When you die as a fly, you respawn as another fly and you're called fly number 2 or fly number 3, and it just iterates through. But what happens is your bucket list resets because you're a new fly. You're not the same fly. You don't have a health bar. You're just a fly. And if you dive into a light bulb and get zapped, you die and you fall to the floor and you're dead. And when you're fly number 2 or 3 or whatever, 100, you can see your old fly buddy on the floor where he died. He or she died. I love that touch that the previous flyers are just lying around the house. It's so funny. Um, so the goal is to investigate this house, explore this house, find all the interactive elements. Once you know them all, you can do them all in one go and tick everything off in one go in your 80 seconds. And then you get a new area to explore and a new bucket list. It's such a unique concept for a game. It's really fun, and I chuckled quite a few times, and I'm only up to the second bucket list at this point. There are 4 apparently to work your way through. And the first one's in a house. There's wine glasses, there's like a gramophone record player type thing. There's people sleeping. You can interact with them. There's a bookshelf. There's all sorts, and I don't want to give spoilers away because the fun is in discovering what to do with the things in the room, and it's really clever. It's really, really clever. I like what they've done with this. And the second room or second area, I should say, is like an art gallery. So interacting with paintings and other little things there. So yeah, it's got a black and white aesthetic, which is also unique and odd, I suppose. I don't know why they've done that. Maybe because flyers don't see color. It's not fly vision. Like I think fly vision would be that weird hexagonal you couldn't even see, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's usually how they do that in, like, movies and cartoons
Yeah,
when they wanna
yeah, yeah. But it's not first person. You can see your fly moving around, and it's just fun to just interact with different things and see what happens. And most of the time you'll die, but it's okay. You just start again, and it's only 80 seconds, so it's really quick and easy. There are ways, and I won't say how, but there are ways to extend your lifespan slightly, so that is a fun thing to do, and you can get a little bit more time. Not a huge amount, but enough to get you through. What else can I say? I think the black and white aesthetic, it looks like it's hand drawn, as in it's kind of like not straight lines. It's like someone's drawn a line for a bench or drawn a person's foot or whatever. I think it's neat. It's really well done. So I need to write my review up for that one. It's going to be hard to score only because it's not a long game. Like there's only these 4 levels. I mean, you can go back and there's little puzzle pieces that you can find, and I've only found 1, and there's 12 of them. So I'm guessing there's 3 per area, if that math works out. So you could go back and do that, I suppose. But I just love the whole setup, changing your country, having flyers just numbered, like number 13. I think I got up to like 15 or 16 flyers in my first 2 areas that I was doing, and it's just imaginative and very different, very very different. Yeah. So the reason it'll be hard to review though is because it is quite short, and it's not as cheap as I thought. I thought it'd be like $5 or $10. It is what is it in the US? It's 20 odd dollars in Australia. I think it's like 17 in the US, which
15.
18, which might
15.
15, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
15. That's not too bad, honestly. For the creativity behind it, it's going to be easy to recommend it as a game to try, but I don't know if people will want to spend $15 on a game that might take only an hour or two. Depends how fast you go through it. I can see myself spending like 2 to 3 hours on it. I've probably already spent, yeah, let's say half an hour on the first level and half an hour on the second level. So all up it'd be about 2 hours. But as I said, you can go back and collect the puzzle pieces if you so desire. But yeah, that'll be the question, whether you want to spend $15 on a game that you'll probably play for 2 hours and then maybe not ever play again. But it is really creative. So watch my full review on that one. Had you
I do have
a
a
question?
big question on this.
Sure. Yes. Ask away.
Um, well, yeah, like I'm looking at the screenshots here on the eShop, and it
Mhm.
looks to me like the kind of game that would have played back on the old Mac SE in the
Yeah.
late '80s.
Yes.
Just simple black and white lines.
Yeah. Very simple. Mhm.
But that leads to my question because I had to enter my age
Mhm.
to
Oh,
get in
yeah. Yes.
because it says it's rated mature for blood, nudity, use of drugs and alcohol, and violence. How?
I did notice that also when I was looking at the eShop listing just before. In Australia, it's MA, which means you have to be 15 to play it, or they recommend. Strong nudity is what they say in Australia. But yes, I don't know that I've seen any blood or gore. I've definitely seen alcohol elements because you can get your fly drunk. And I mean, the fly drinks a drop of alcohol and then the screen goes all fuzzy for like 10 seconds and then you go back to being a normal fly. There's alcohol around though, like there's bottles of wine and stuff. Whether that is enough to say alcohol use, I don't know, because it is a fly getting drunk, but it's such like it's a little black dot on a screen, so I'm not sure. The the nudity, I do know what that is about because there is an art gallery, like I said, the second one, and there is a statue that is naked, but it looked blurred out to me, and I don't know, you don't really see anything, so I don't know what that's about. I'm surprised it's that rated. I would say it should be T, maybe T for teen.
It just really
Yeah.
threw me. So yeah, I
Yeah, so I can only imagine that maybe something gory happens later in the last 2
okay.
levels, so I'll report back on that.
Well,
But yeah, I was surprised too because certainly the first level is very innocent, apart from drinking a drop of alcohol. I can't think of anything else. Your fly does get splattered at one point, like, if you go into a certain area, something happens and the fly gets splattered against the wall, but it's black, goop. I don't think flies even have blood, do they? I don't think.
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know what it is or organs or any. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, so whether that's it, because I can't imagine there being any red on it, and what could the blood be? And I can't see any humans getting injured, at least at this point. It's a good
Well,
question. But
yeah, the
yeah, the
game's going to take a very dark turn here pretty soon.
yes, yeah. And, like, in the second one, you start off trapped in a wine glass upside down on a table, and you just push the wine glass and it falls to the floor. Um, I don't know, does someone step on the wine glass? I didn't see that happen. This I don't know, I don't know. Yeah, it seems a bit extreme to me, but maybe games these days, maybe they're stricter with the rating or something. Like, it's a fly,
Yeah,
so,
I
yeah.
oh, okay.
Interesting. But yeah, so it's not a kiddie game. That's a really good point, though. It's not necessarily made for little children. I'd say you probably would have to be at a certain age to enjoy this one for those reasons, unless, yeah, like you're hearing that it's not that. It's not tame exactly, but it's not. It's not, I don't think it's as graphic as they're describing on the eShop. But I will finish the game and see if that changes. So, thank you for bringing that up, Kirk.
Sure.
What's next for you?
The next game I'm playing, and this one I've reviewed, and it should be live by the time this episode goes live, is
Mhm.
called the Nameless Slay Dragon.
Cool.
This game comes to us from Whisper Games, is the publisher,
Mhm.
and it is like you look at it and you look at the pictures that they have on the eShop, and you think it's your typical turn-based battle system, another JRPG along those lines, and it kind of is. But this one very much takes a more traditional tabletop approach to the gaming. Um, Kind of like a choose your own adventure style thing. Like it mostly gives you the story and everything in text. And when you're moving to certain parts in the city, you're not actively moving or walking around like you get in a lot of the top down RPGs. There are nodes that you go to,
Hmm.
and it will like light up a few of them at a time. And so you can go here, and then an event happens. And maybe you're going to meet somebody, maybe you can buy something, maybe you can expend some energy to get some kind of resource. Th- as you move along, of course, more story is presented to you. You get characters that you get in. But what I really like about this is your decisions are as impactful as the actual battles that you eventually get into. Like you meet a character early on, and he will be like, "Why, like the game will hint that people are looking at you, and then someone approaches, and then he'll say, "Oh no, I know this guy's bad news. We got to get out of here." And I'm like, it's a turn based battle game. I can beat him." Like, no, the kid was right. You end up getting crushed, and some money stolen from you. So, like, you need to make these decisions about whether to fight, whether to run, whether to try to hide. When you go into the battles, of course, you can attack, you can use a special ability, you can use an item, defend, like that. And when you're in that point, the game kind of changes the visuals up, and it looks more like sort of like a static turn-based system as you're fighting. But it's got such a really good story, and your decisions really start mattering very quickly in this game. Um, you you're going to, I believe, having only played through it once, you're going to get the same people in your party throughout the whole thing.
Mm.
But the whole thing is it's like slay dragon. Your whole point is to slay dragons, kill dragons. Your character's village was wiped out by a dragon, and he wants revenge. And there are different ways to get to the point where you're able to do that. Like early on, you go into this city, but you have no place to stay and you have no money, so you end up taking a job in the mines. And that's another good example. Like they'll say, yeah, okay, you could go work in the mines, you could get some cash, stay to your left, do not go down the right path. Listen when they say that, like, and it really
But don't you just
things that
want to do that? Don't you just want to take the path they said not to take?
well, yeah, especially because then someone's like, "Oh, yeah, I don't recommend going down here, but people have tried because there's apparently this big treasure down here, but no one who goes down there ever comes back." And the kid is like, "Hey, if we get that treasure, we're not going to have to work so much." I'm like, "Yeah, I've learned my lesson. Let's level up a bit before we take that on." And the whole game ends up going like this. The characters, sort of like with Barley, the characters are really good. I really like the writing, but this one had such a unique approach to the way the game is played and the way you make your decisions that it really stands out from a lot of these type of games that I've played in the past. So I really, really enjoyed my time with the Nameless Slay Dragon. People who are used to more modern JRPGs probably like I said, it gets old school, both with the way it's presented and with the way you're making decisions and progressing through the game. So it's going to throw some players for a loop, I think, at the start. And I would suggest you definitely stick with it, because once you get into the way the developers intended for you to play it, then it's a blast.
Mm. It certainly looks lovely. Like, I like the style of it, the graphical style.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
the illustrations, the characters that they've done there, and you can kind of see if you go to the eShop and look at it, a couple of the city things. You can see the little like yellowish diamonds or various icons on the screen. That's kind of what you're doing, is just moving and selecting one of those, and going to look at it, and then it gives you a little
Mm.
scenario for what happens at that point.
Cool. And so it's all static, like when you're in a battle, there's a picture of the dragon that looks like he's moving, but is it moving, or is it just it looks like he's shouting kind of thing or something?
Yeah, it's more static. There will
Okay.
be like very subtle animations, like some effects and things, and some
Mhm.
bouncing up and down. But as far as like actual swaying and movement, no.
Okay, cool. I love that on the eShop at the bottom of the description it says, "Respect your time. No random battle, no forced grinding, no endless maze. All endings available in the first run."
Yeah, and that's true. Now you can still grind. In fact, there will be times where there are a lot of the nodes will have a battle, and you can go back to that as many times as you want
Hmm.
to, kind of level up. But yeah, I never felt that I needed to at any
Cool.
point. I may have done it to taken on some jobs that I didn't need to just to make sure I had enough money for things, or you can farm items because there's a pretty good crafting system in here, so you want to make sure you get the elements to craft with. But yeah, there was never a point where I thought I got beaten by this boss and I should have beaten it and I couldn't, so I better level up. Usually, if
Yeah.
you're in no way going to be able to beat a boss, it's because you are not supposed to be fighting it.
Yeah, makes sense. And I don't know about Whisper Games' previous titles, but I just looked up. They've got 7 on the Switch, and the other 6, so they're not the new one, but the previous 6 games, which are not related in terms of, I don't think they're sequels, or this is not a sequel to any of these games, but they're all on sale at the moment. So it looks like Whisper Games is having a sale. And if you like this game and you wanted to see what else they have, I guess now would be a good time to do that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have
I
you?
can say also, I did review S Libra.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Hmm.
I think S Libra Revision may be a new version of it. I can't recall if I reviewed a previous version and they kind of updated it.
Hmm.
But yeah, so you can check out our review for that one. The one that I didn't review, but I really, I really love the look of it, was Squad 51 versus the Flying Saucers.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. That looks quite different. It's like black and white. I don't even know. It looks like an old movie from the 40s,
Yeah,
50s,
for like
something.
the
I don't know.
50s. Yeah,
50s,
the,
yeah.
the kind of thing you would see on Svengoolie. I don't know if they have Svengoolie in Australia,
I
but
don't know what that is, but I
okay.
know what
Yeah.
this looks like, and I'll put the cover, at least if there's no trailer, I'll put the cover into YouTube while we're talking so you can see what we're talking about. But it's yeah, it looks at least interesting from that perspective. No idea if it's any good. It is 55% off though right now, so maybe worth a gamble. I don't know. That sounds really cool. Thank you, Kirk. So you said that review is probably going to be up by the time this podcast drops, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I assume by Monday morning, so I may
nice.
either just be right behind or right in front of the podcast.
Sounds good. Awesome. We've kind of gone over the hour there, so I might hold. I did say we had 3 apiece, but I think we're going to hold our other 2 for next week.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay. Sounds
We've
good.
given people enough to consider.
Yes, that's right. Plenty of games we talked about. And what did you say earlier? We've got something to look forward to or something. What did you say? Something for next week?
Time to look forward.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, that
Yeah.
too. Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Kirk. Anything else you wanted to kind of add or recommend before we close things off for the week?
No, except I, since you played a game where you played as a fly while you were talking,
Yes.
it got me thinking of all the previous games I'd played as various insects of certain
Yeah.
kinds. I think that's a discussion we need to have on the podcast before too long. What our favorite game is where you played as an insect and that type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. I love that. Is there any way we can tie that into Halloween? Probably not.
I don't, yeah, I don't think the insect games I played weren't really scary,
Yeah.
I guess. So there was one with a spider that I want to talk about, but
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, one
Cool.
day maybe.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining me this week, Kirk, and talking about all things Nintendo. Thank you, listeners, for joining us as well. Let us know what you're playing this week. Let us know if you're heading to PAX Australia or what your thoughts were on the Nintendo Direct. If you're listening to that Donkey Kong Bonanza music, or if you're trying any of those demos that we mentioned or any of the games we're playing, we would love to know your thoughts. If you would like to follow us on social media, we are on Blue Sky, so head on over there to check us out. If you would like to grab yourself a copy of the Pure Nintendo magazine, our current issue has just arrived with Kirk. It's been printed, it's at Kirk's house right now. He's about to send it out to all of our subscribers. So thank you for your patience and thank you, Kirk, for taking care of that. I cannot wait to see it and hold it myself. But if you would like to get on board for the next issue, please head on over to patreon.com/Pure Nintendo and you'll be on the list for our next issue, which you won't get charged until the issue comes out. So there's no harm in doing that now. But yeah, get on board. And I think that's it for now, though. So thank you. And until next week, game on, everybody. Bye.